Have you ever found yourself wishing there was something natural, something easy to grab when you get a headache, maybe?
Mm.
Or for that cough that just won't quit?
Oh, definitely.
Hmm.
Or maybe you remember hearing stories from, like, your grandparents.
Exactly.
Mm.
Those tales of remedies they swore by, things passed down. But it feels like a lot of that knowledge has, well, kind of faded away in our busy modern lives.
Yeah, there's this real pull towards things that feel more natural, more accessible, rooted in something older, maybe.
Right. And that leads us perfectly into our deep dive today. We're looking at a book called Forgotten Home Apothecary, 250 Powerful Remedies at Your Fingertips by Dr. Nicole Apelian.
Hmm.
Our goal here is to really unpack what this book is all about, what it promises, its features, and crucially, what are actual readers saying?
Okay.
Does it deliver?
Yeah, we want to look at the good stuff, the strengths people mention, but also some of the surprising criticisms that have come up.
We're pulling this together mainly from the book's own description, what it sets out to do, and also from a whole bunch of Goodreads reviews.
Which is great because those reviews give us a direct line into what people, perhaps like you listening, actually experienced with the book. What worked, what didn't.
Yeah.
It's like getting real-world feedback.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The whole idea behind the Forgotten Home Apothecary, it really taps into that nostalgic but also super practical concept, right?
Totally. Bringing back those remedies our grandparents might have used back when the local apothecary, the place with all the herbs and natural preparations, was the go-to spot.
Before pharmacies as we know them today were everywhere.
Exactly. And the author, Dr. Nicole Apelian, she's presented as an expert herbalist, says she has over 30 years of actual hands-on practice.
That definitely adds a layer of credibility, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Suggests it's not just theory, but based on real experience.
Right. It's that mix of kind of respecting history, but also offering practical steps that seems to be the core appeal. The book essentially wants to help you set up your own 250 remedy apothecary at home.
Wow, 250 remedies, that sounds like a lot.
It does. But the idea is it's organized, like on shelves for different problems. So it's meant to be a natural way to handle common health stuff.
It really taps into that feeling of wanting to be a bit more self-sufficient with health, maybe, taking things into your own hands.
I think so. And it sounds like they've tried to make it user-friendly. It's described as 288 color pages, step-by-step guides.
Color photos, too. Measurements, dosages, even an appendix that's supposed to be easy to use.
Yeah, the details suggest they're aiming for accessibility, trying to make these old practices feel doable, even if you're completely new to herbal remedies.
Which could make a huge difference for someone just starting out, right? That clarity.
Absolutely. It's about demystifying it all, bringing it back into the everyday without making it seem, overwhelming or complicated.
And connecting it back to that historical context, reclaiming knowledge our ancestors might have had, that's a powerful hook for a lot of people, I think. It makes your interest feel connected to something deeper.
It really does. It feels less like a fleeting trend and more like returning to something, well, fundamental.
Okay, so as we dig in, some of the specific remedies they mentioned sound really interesting. They definitely spark curiosity.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, there's one called the Natural. Apparently it's for focus, memory, mental clarity, found on page 129. I mean, who wouldn't be interested in a natural brain boost?
Right. That's a perfect example of how it draws you in. It taps into these really common everyday needs, and it offers alternatives that maybe just a few generations ago were pretty standard.
And it's not just general stuff. It mentions Dr. Apelian's own 3 mushroom tinctures, those concentrated herbal liquids.
Sure.
Apparently, she used those herself to help manage her MS symptoms. That's on page 220. That kind of personal story, showing it being used in a real-life situation, that adds weight.
Definitely. It makes it feel more tangible, less abstract. It shows potential impact.
And then there are ones that just sound so traditional, like Grandma's Hot. It's described as this powerful back remedy, almost lost to time, page 175.
Grandma's Hot. I like that. It sounds like exactly the kind of thing you'd hear about from family lore.
Totally. And for sleep issues, there's the Herbal Sleep Aid on page 147. These aren't super obscure things. They're aimed at problems lots of us deal with: sleep, digestion, pain.
Precisely. That's the core appeal of having your own home apothecary, isn't it? Practical solutions for common problems.
Yeah.
The book also talks about showing you how to make the best natural probiotic at home, good gut bacteria. That's on page 82.
Oh, interesting. Homemade probiotics.
And even simple things like what happens if you just pour honey over cinnamon. It hints that sometimes the simplest combinations from nature are surprisingly effective. Things may be already in your kitchen cabinet.
Okay, so lots of intriguing promises there.
Yeah.
But the big question is always, Does it work? What did readers actually find when they started using it?
Right, let's get into that, because it's clear this book really did connect with a lot of people.
Yeah, some reviewers were really positive. Like Missy LeBlanc-Ivy, she called it one of the best in this category. A valuable arsenal to add to my repertoire of healing recipes.
That's strong praise, and it shows people are actively looking for this kind of actionable information, wanting to feel empowered about their health naturally.
And the structure, the organization, seems to be a big part of why people liked it.
Yes, Missy specifically mentioned that. She broke it down. Part 1 is about actually setting up your apothecary drying herbs, storing them properly.
The practical foundations.
Exactly. Part 2 gives the general how-to for making things like teas, infusions, decoctions, tinctures, oils, syrups, balms, even essential oils and hydrosols as floral waters.
So it teaches you the basic techniques first.
Right. And then part 3, which she said was her favorite part, gets into the specific recipes for different ailments, and it's organized by body system, cardiovascular, digestive, respiratory, nervous system, immune system, skin problems, and so on.
That does sound incredibly helpful, especially if you're starting from scratch. That kind of system makes it less intimidating, I'd imagine.
I think that's key. A lot of herbal books can feel like just a huge list of plants. This remedy shelf idea gives you a mental map. It's like organizing your kitchen. You know where to look.
Makes sense. Fosters confidence.
Exactly. Encourages you to actually use it regularly, not just read it once.
And another reviewer, Alexis, she really liked the justification and actual citation of sources there is with evidence. That's huge for credibility, isn't it? Especially with health stuff.
Oh, absolutely. When you're dealing with remedies, knowing there's some research or evidence cited, not just folklore, builds a lot of trust. It feels more grounded.
Yeah, it moves it beyond just old wives' tales.
Though sometimes those old wives knew a thing or two. But yes, the evidence helps bridge that gap for modern readers.
And the look and feel of the book got mentioned too. Kimberly and Margaret liked the nice oversized pages, having each recipe on its own page, the colorful pictures.
Visual appeal definitely helps. And another reviewer, Heinrich Hein, mentioned that the remedy shelf layout and clear instructions made him feel at ease when he was making his first tincture.
So the design actually helped lower the barrier to trying it out. But thinking critically, does that visual polish sometimes risk making it seem more comprehensive than it is if the details aren't quite there?
That's a really important point. Good design is fantastic for usability, especially for beginners. But yes, if the text itself lacks depth on crucial things like dosage or warnings, the nice pictures could potentially create a false sense of security. Detail has to come first with health information.
A fair caution. On a different note, Correa de la Cerda had this really nice experience where the book helped connect missing dots about remedies her grandparents used but hadn't written down.
Oh, that's lovely. That really speaks to the forgotten aspect, doesn't it? Bridging generations like that.
It really does. And ultimately, people want to know if the remedies work. Amaya Okazaki kept it simple. Love the recipes. Some of them have really helped me.
And that's the bottom line for many users, isn't it? Real-world results.
It wasn't all praise.
No, it wasn't. And this is where it gets interesting, because some significant criticisms came up. This raises an important question about usability.
Let me guess. The index.
You got it. The biggest critique, echoed by Missy LeBlanc-Ivy, who loved the structure otherwise, was, in her words, there is no index.
Wow. All caps. She felt strongly.
She really did. No alphabetical index for ailments or for the herbs and ingredients. She even said she'd probably have to make her own, which she's done for other books before.
Ouch. For a 250 remedy reference book, that's a pretty major oversight, isn't it? Kind of undermines the at-your-fingertips promise.
It really does. Imagine you need something quickly for, say, a bee sting or a sudden cough, flipping through potentially hundreds of pages instead of just looking it up. That's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, not practical at all in the moment. But it wasn't just the lack of an index, was it? Alicia Bayer raised concerns about the information itself being incomplete.
Yes, she used the black walnut tincture as a specific example. The book apparently lists it for a whole range of things, from parasites to heavy periods.
Okay, so what was missing?
The detail on how to use it. It gives a general dose like 20 drops a day, 3 times a day, but then vaguely warns against using it too long because of potential side effects.
But doesn't say how long too long actually is?
Just
Or if the dose or duration changes depending on why you're taking it.
Exactly. Alicia asked, for heavy periods, do you take it during the period? Before, how many days? For parasites, which parasites does it work for? How long do you need to take it then?
Those are really crucial details for using something safely and effectively. That kind of vagueness could be risky.
It definitely leaves a lot of uncertainty,
Yeah.
especially for someone who isn't already an experienced herbalist. You need that specific guidance.
And Alicia also had a point about the feel of the book, right? Something about the author's voice.
Yeah, she felt it lacks any feeling of connection to the author. She described it as feeling almost like it was generated by someone or an AI rather than conveying personal lived wisdom.
Oh, that's interesting. She missed that sense of learning from a real person with their stories and experiences woven in.
Precisely. She prefers herbal books where you feel that connection, that mentorship. She found this one a bit generic, maybe?
Yeah.
Detached.
I can see how that personal touch could make a big difference in trusting the information, especially with traditional knowledge. It feels more authentic somehow.
It often does. That narrative element, the why behind a remedy based on experience, can be very powerful.
Mhm.
If it feels too much like just a list of instructions, it might lose some of that resonance.
And there was another issue. She flagged the pictures.
Right, the visuals. She pointed out that sometimes the stark photos and illustrations don't match the remedies. Like, a recipe using hawthorn might have a picture of rose hips next to it.
Oh dear. That kind of mistake, especially in a book focused on identifying and using plants, could be genuinely confusing and definitely undermines confidence.
It really does. If the pictures, which are meant to help, are actually misleading, it makes you question the care taken with the whole production. Accuracy is paramount here.
And then there were practical concerns, like the price versus the physical quality.
Yeah, Alicia mentioned the price, $37 seemed steep for a paperback, especially one she described as having flimsy paper, potentially self-published, a mismatch between cost and perceived value.
And Paige Lesazari chimed in, saying it felt much more basic knowledge than I had expected.
Right, so that suggests it might not satisfy people who already have some herbal knowledge and are looking for more depth or nuance.
It sounds like it might be caught in a tricky spot, maybe too basic for some, but potentially lacking crucial detail or navigational tools for beginners.
That seems to be the tension, yes.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to decide if this book is right for you?
Well, pulling it all together, it seems like The Forgotten Home Apothecary could be a really great starting point if you're new to herbalism.
Yeah, if you want something visually appealing, clearly structured, that walks you through setting up an apothecary and making basic things like teas and tinctures.
Exactly. That categorized approach, the step-by-step instructions for common ailments, those are definite strengths for a beginner. It feels empowering, accessible.
It could give you that confidence to just start trying things out.
Definitely. But on the other hand, if you're already quite knowledgeable about herbs, or if you're someone who really needs or wants very specific detailed guidance,
Especially on dosages for different conditions or how long to take something or potential interactions.
then this book might leave you wanting more. The lack of a proper index is a huge practical drawback for quick reference.
A really big one.
And those concerns about incomplete information for specific remedies, plus the somewhat generic feel some readers noted, it means that while it offers a broad overview, it might not provide the depth or the personalized feel you're looking for.
So it's a trade-off, maybe. Accessibility versus depth and detail.
That seems to be the core of it. It's a fantastic gateway, visually engaging, well-structured for introducing the concepts. But it might require you to do some extra homework, maybe consult other more detailed sources, especially before tackling more complex health issues or using potent herbs.
Right. You need to be aware of what it offers and what its limitations might be for your specific needs and experience level.
Absolutely. It's about knowing what kind of guide you need on your journey with natural health.
So wrapping up, it's clear this book hits a sweet spot for many, offering an inviting path back to traditional remedies. But those gaps, the index, the detailed application info, are significant hurdles for others.
Which leads to a really interesting final thought, doesn't it? In this world where we're trying to blend ancient wisdom with reliable and modern information, how much detail is actually enough for you to feel confident and safe using natural remedies?
And what's the responsibility of authors in this space? Is it enough to provide the recipes, or do they need to ensure the full context for safe, effective uses there too, especially when reaching such a wide audience?
It's a crucial balance to strike, something for all of us to think about as we explore these powerful natural solutions.